Hi, this is Dina with Pretty Productive. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, thank you so much for joining us. If you have not joined us yet permanently, please consider subscribing and hit the alert for future videos. So I'm going to just take a moment before I jump into my weekly check-in for the first week of May and give you a little bit about what happens before I sit down to film, because it looks like this is nice and simple, but it takes me about an hour and a half to get to the point where I can sit down and film. The reason why I don't film that process is it would be an extremely long video, but I do get questions on it, so I do want to make sure you understand what happens prior to the filming of the video. So the first thing I do is I sit down with my planner, I bring my phone, I take the app for Capital One, which is the credit card that I use, and I look at all my transactions and I date them so that I know when to cut off the transactions that I've already accounted for. I also grab my wallet, I look at what cash I have left, and then I gather all my receipts for the week. So I do get a receipt for everything, even though a lot of the transactions are recorded on my Capital One. I like the receipts for two reasons. One, make sure I don't miss anything. So if I use cash, then I of course grab a receipt. So I'm just in that habit. The second thing is to scan them into Fetch Rewards. Now I know a lot of YouTubers use Fetch Rewards. I'm not going to go through the program, but down in the description is my code. And what it is just a point system. So you accumulate points for every receipt that you scan. It used to be just grocery stores, and then it became restaurants. I always scan in my gas ones as well. And they just accumulate. You can get gift cards, you can get cash back, things like that. But the other reason why I really like Fetch is that if I do lose a receipt, you know, if I've scanned it and for whatever reason I threw it away or something, I can go back in my app under my activity and say, okay, yes, we did go to Bambino's on that day and this is what the actual receipt was. So it's kind of just another check and balance. Once I am done with the receipts, and I meant to keep them, but I did not last night, there's two check marks on the receipt. One is that I have scanned it into Fetch, and the second check mark on the receipt says that I have accounted for that transaction and that money that went out of my budget. So I sit down and just do all of that. Now last night was the NBA playoffs. I was nervous anyways. The Suns have not been playing well. So I did that while I was watching the game, and that kind of was a nice distraction when the game was getting a little intense. Then my next step is to go ahead and write down all the transactions in my planner. This is what my transaction log looks like. I am a huge fan of color coding in both my planner as well as my budgeting system. So I do have a color coding system that is this little card right here. These I call my check boxes. They are in my Etsy shop. There are two kind of color waves. They match the mile liners that I use on this page. So I just took the mile liner, I scanned it in, I started to look at the color code, then from that I created these. Now they're not an exact match because it's not an exact science, but it definitely is close enough that visually I can just see that this is groceries, this is my mom, etc. So once I've written these all down, I just start with the first one. I don't put fixed expenses on here because, you know, they go directly out of my account. They're not an envelope. But then I go through and I highlight whether it's groceries or what category it's going to go to. Then I just grab my check boxes, I write them out. And if they're highlighted on here, that means they're also written into this. And then just as a second little one, I will count up how many transactions I know I needed to put in and just make sure that they're all accounted for here. So it's a simple system. I enjoy this part of the system. It's kind of a good way to look at what I did last week, but it's a way that I can kind of track everything from the weekly basis. So I hope that answers all of the questions that I got. I'm trying to think. I think so. So let's go ahead and get started. I did pull out money from my incremental income. I got paid on Thursday, and you're going to see where this is going to go because I'm trying really hard this time to use this money intentionally versus before I was literally just spending it, and then at the end of the day I was like, why did I bother working when I wasn't using the money wisely? So this time I'm trying to do a lot more intentional sinking funds, savings, things like that. And then I do still allow myself a little bit of fun because that's how I justify getting out the door every day for work. So this is what we're going to be stuffing for my incremental income. So let's first see what we need to pay ourselves back from the envelope back into the back to bank fund. So the first thing I'm going to start with is groceries. So $60 for HelloFresh, Walmart for $12, and HelloFresh for $70. So a total of $142. Now, if you are new here, I split my groceries into $600 is my total budget, $300 in cash, and $300 online. Because I do HelloFresh, I do consider that a grocery expense. And I do always use my card, my Capital One card. And then I pretty much, I think at this point, I'm close to $1,000 in reward dollars. We are going on a trip to Chicago in June. We were going to use miles, and then it was just super expensive. So between the cost of the ticket for my husband and I to fly to Chicago, we're only going to be there for 3 days, the hotel and everything, it's going to be close to a $2,000 weekend. So we're either going to use the miles in my Capital One rewards, or we'll do a combination of airline miles and off. So somewhat of an unexpected expense, but one that we will make the budget work for. So I have 600 minus 142 is 458. Okay, I'm just gonna check something, because as I said that, and I think what happened was, I am missing a $13 one. Okay, I thought I was missing something. Must have been when the game got intense. I don't know. Let me just grab my grocery one. And these are super disorganized, so that's why I kind of just pulled them to the side, because I have a bunch of ones that have 1 or 2 left on here, and I just wanted to finish them off. Oh, it's here. I just forgot to pull it off. Okay, and I believe that was the 3rd. Right, the 4th. Okay. This is the Pilot Frixion erasable pen. I don't know that I could do budgeting without this pen, because I make mistakes and I don't want to get whiteout out. So 60 plus 12 plus 13 plus 70 is 155. Currently that is all online, so I usually don't touch my envelope until later on in the month. Now, the only exception might be I need to go back through HelloFresh and look at the menus for the balance of the month. And if I am going to do HelloFresh again towards the end of the month, I will go ahead and start using my envelope money so that that money is already in the account waiting for it. So 445. Okay. And then for eating out, you guys will be proud. This was probably the least amount. Don't get me wrong, we used the whole 50, but I didn't go over because we've been really, really bad. And there is a direct relationship between my budget and staying on budget and if I get HelloFresh or not. Because if I am left to my own devices to come up with meals, I would rather just pick up food. So there's that. So $51. I am $1 over, but much better than normal. So my budget for the month is $250 minus 51 is $199. Spending, I take the whole 50, though I do actually have $9 left. So I'm just going to kind of put this to the side. So what I do is my spending category, which some budgeters put as allowance. And I think at my age, I don't want to be on an allowance. I just want money to spend that I'm not having to, I don't track my spending. I don't put it on my budget. I just take the whole 50. If there's something left, I can put it into the savings challenge, or I can let it roll over. It's the one category that I don't monitor. I mean, I monitor in the fact that I don't want to go over that $50. I don't want to just start spending, but I don't track it. I just want to have one category that I can spend and not have to worry about it. So that's why I put it in my wallet and not an envelope, because my wallet is always with me and I don't worry about it. So $9 is left from the 50. So as far as my budget is concerned, I just put the whole 50, because I'm not going to say, okay, well, I spent 50 minus 9, I spent $41. And that's just not what this category is really about for me. So I have 200 left. And then for gas, I did get one. Gas is pink. I got gas at 50 at Fry's, so that looked weird to me at first. And it's $51. Fry's for us in Arizona is, I think, Kroger and other parts of the country. But they have a rewards program. I do go probably primarily to Walmart or Sam's Club, but I do also, for quick things, I will run to Fry's. And so I had points that for gas, and when I went to use them, they had expired. First, I thought some of my family used them and I was annoyed. And then I looked on the app and they had expired at the end of the month. And this was on May 3rd or 4th that I went and actually got gas. So, you know, my fault for missing that. And I'll know to kind of keep track on that at the end of the month and get gas before they expire. My mom, I had one expense of $5. I did go grab her a root beer at Sonic. And if you are new to my channel, because we have had a lot of new subscribers in this last couple weeks, my mom is at a memory care facility. I have a little budget for her that I was always taking out of either my spending or groceries or eating out or whatever, that I just bring her little treats. It could be a root beer float or just Coke. Her appetite lately has not been that much. It used to be where, you know, if we didn't bring her food, she was annoyed at us. But she's pretty much been eating what they provide. But I do like to bring her little treats now and then, and that's what that envelope is for. As far as her personal needs, her rent, all that comes out of my parents' trust. So we don't worry about clothing and personal needs for her out of our budget. Entertainment, I have not spent anything. Let me go back and just cross off that one Sonic. And then personal care I have not spent yet. I am going to have a massage tomorrow, so I will definitely be dipping into that envelope. Household, I have not spent anything. And miscellaneous, I have not spent anything. So the only other transaction that I have that is actually on my monthly budget page is for medicine, and I believe that was $6. It was $6. So I just kind of keep a rolling kind of number here, just so at the end of the month I can see if I exceeded that $100 I had put aside. So just to kind of walk you through, some of my variable expenses have come in. And so my electricity, I had budgeted $250, it came in at $230. No, I budgeted $230, it came in at $212, so that was $18 less than I had budgeted. My water and trash was already in when I set up my budget. My Southwest gas, which is our natural gas, I had budgeted $80. It came in at $44, which is the least it has been in months. And that is $36 kind of back into my budget. So a total for my variable expenses, my budget was $409. The actuals were $355. That means a plus side to my budget for $54. So right now that's just going to hang out in my account cushion. And then at the end of the month, whatever builds up in that account cushion will then get a home. I did move the $500 to my savings account. This is kind of where I'm going to be tracking incremental income, but you're going to see the breakdown pretty soon. The next two are definitely estimated because I work an hourly position and things can happen. You know, my daughter could need me, I could get sick, the event could get canceled. So I do not count that as income until I physically see the check in my account on Thursdays. And then everything else pretty much has stayed the same. Some of my bills have come in just $1 or $2 more, like my phone bill went up. You know, in the rounding, it went up $1. Netflix went up $1. And that's really not even a whole dollar. It's just the cents went up. So then that means that I'm going to round up versus rounding down. Is pretty much as expected. Now this is a 5-week month for me. So this is kind of how I had to lay it out. So week 1, 2, 3, 4, and then week 5 is down here. And then I'll total out where I ended up in each category. Transaction pages, I went ahead and went to 4 because it is a 5-week month, and then this is where we get to play with some incremental income. So these are my sinking funds. This was what I had cash stuffed at the beginning of the month in my May setup cash stuffing envelopes and sinking funds video. And then this is what I'm going to use my incremental money for. So this is how it breaks down. So my paycheck after taxes was $360. I spent 2 transactions for stationery, which if you're new here, it's a problem. I love stationery. And one was for Journal Station and one was for Emma Stationery Haul, which are all my transactions highlighted in a very light beige. So $70 I took right out of my checking account and made a payment on my Capital One card. So just sent that right over to pay that off. I left $50 of it in my account as a buffer. $50 is going to go into family barbecue. So family barbecue for me in my budget is anytime we have everybody over and we have a Traeger and my husband loves to smoke meat, and if you try to buy like a big brisket or ribs, they're very expensive. So it's kind of Memorial Day, 4th of July, somebody's birthday, things like that. So I kind of just keep a little cushion in here so that I can, we can buy the meat, and then, the sides can really come out of either my budget or we do it like a potluck. So I'm going to add $50 into this category. And I'll just do this first one and then I'll do the rest off camera. But just so that you can see, because this is another question I get, is how do you track the coming in and going out? So I started with $50. We did a Super Bowl party. There went that $50. I put $50 back in on the 1st of March. And now I'm getting to fund it again on 5/6. So it's not something I'm going to fund every month, but it's definitely something I'm going to fund when I can. So this goes back in here. I like to leave my trackers on the outside so I can easily flip and see. Okay, I think that's everything for this one. Okay. So this one's been paid, this one's in my account, that one's been done. Household. So now household, I actually have 2. I have one in here that has has 100. There's 40 that is still online and 60 that I put in here. So I'm going to go ahead and put the other 50 in this envelope. Whatever does not get spent for the month goes into a household that is in more of my long-term sinking fund. So I don't like to leave a lot of money in here because then I'm like, oh, I have money and I want to spend it. Okay, and I still need to take money out of these, but we'll go back to that. Vacation, we are going out of town in a couple of weeks. It's kind of a surprise. My husband booked it and paid for it, so I'm excited. So all I really need is just kind of some spending money. So my next check, instead of going into sinking funds, I think I'm just gonna put the whole thing in vacation. I do have, I think, $5,000 in my vacation online account, but $3,200 of that is going to leave in June to pay off the balance of the Airbnb we're doing in July. So I just want to make sure that money is there and intact, and then I have money for when we're actually on vacation. So 20, 40, 60, 81 is going into my vacation envelope because I do want to be able to take cash with me and not be using my card the whole time I'm there. And then the last $40 is going to go to Sutton, and Sutton is my granddaughter. She is 6 weeks old, and honestly I have not had to spend a lot of money on her because I spent all the money up front. So I bought her stroller, her glider, and her car seat as a gift to my daughter and son-in-law, but we are starting an educational account for her. And I've really gotten a huge education on how to set these up and how to manage them and things like that. So I'm starting kind of a fund for that. It can be opened with any amount, and the account itself, while in her name and can be used for educational expenses, it also stays in my husband and my trust until we gift it to her, because my concern was, you know, at my age, my husband's age, we may not be here when she becomes of age. So does it go to my daughter and son-in-law? Does it go directly to her? Like, I want to make sure that the money is used wisely and that it's freely given to her, but not with a lot of stipulations, like it has to be a 4-year degree, it could be a trade school, it could be at a certain age she chooses not to go to school, then the money becomes hers. So I had a lot of questions around that because I've heard so many different things about educational accounts, but you know, I think we've got it ironed out. So now I'm just kind of starting to accumulate the money to open the account, and then I'll just fund it as we go. So this is the first 40 to that, and then eventually as she gets older and I'll be taking her places and things like that, then definitely we'll start an envelope so that, you know, when I'm able to take her out to lunch or buy her something, then there'll be money for that as well. So that is it for adding. Now let's take out. So when I go at the end of the week and I look at what I spent out of my envelopes, then I need to pay my card back because everything currently is on my card. So the first one is groceries. I don't need to worry about that because I'm still working off my online, but eating out, I can already tell you I don't have a 1 in here. So 20, 40, 50, I'll just carry the 1, and then actually I'll just use one of these ones. So this goes back into bank. I spent $51. $51 goes into my back to bank envelope. Spending, I get another $50 in my wallet. Kind of like getting paid all over again, which makes me very happy. And so that goes into my wallet. And then my mom, I spent $5 and I did not grab any cash, so I did have to use my card. I used to carry some envelopes with me, and then I just got to the point where I couldn't it was more work going back and forth on cash and whatever. So I'm going to take this 5 and put it back in my mom's. So 15, so 85, 95, sorry. My mom. Okay, let's see here, so it doesn't go to that one, it goes to this one. 20, 40, 60, 80, 95. Okay. And so this money is going to go back into bank. Last month, I actually pulled out some 1s and 5s and just kind of kept it. I think I need to do that again this month because otherwise it's going to get a little confusing. Okay, so entertainment I haven't touched, personal care, household, and miscellaneous I have not touched. So for personal care, that is one category that this money will go with me tomorrow. I'll take my tip out of here because when I do this envelope, I break it down already. So I've got tip money and things like that. So I will take the tip for the massage out of here. If I go to get my nails or my hair done, I do pull this envelope, and that is kind of the one exception, is that I will go ahead and just take this envelope, throw it in my bag, and then put the receipt in there and put everything that's left back in here, and then still track the transaction because I need to know where that money went, but not worry about putting it on my card and then paying myself back. Unless, sometimes they won't take a 50, which is kind of ridiculous to me because, I don't know. I understand a lot of, businesses don't want 100 because they, don't trust them or it takes away their change or whatever, but I'm like, a 50, really? So we'll see. So it's kind of hit or miss there. And that is everything for this video. So seems short and sweet. I will tell you that there's a lot of prep that goes in. Okay. So my camera does not like the shininess of my envelopes. I'm going to just put this over here, pull this one back in, let it focus again. So there is prep work. Some YouTubers will actually do the prep on camera. They're an extremely long video. I tend to like to keep my videos a little bit shorter, but if you want to see the prep work, let me know. I'm definitely happy to share it. I think it's an important part of making everything reconcile on a weekly and a monthly basis, but it is kind of a tedious scanning receipts, checking your transactions, checking your credit card, looking in your wallet. There's a lot of different steps to it, but it's so important for me to stay on budget and to be very intentional with my money. So that is everything for this video. Let me know in the comments below if you would like to see that step of my budgeting, and I will see you in my next video. Take care. Thank you. Bye.